First of all, I hope everyone had a nice holiday. And good holiday cheer. And I want to welcome Nathan. Is it Nate or Nathan?
I go by Nate.
Nate.
Yeah.
So welcome to Hubbardston, and thank you for coming to our meeting today.
Thank you for having me.
And so we have Nate here with us to just talk a little bit about what the trustees do, talk about kind of maybe your vision for the town, and maybe kind of how we all can best work together.
Mm-hmm.
So did you want to start with something?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't really have too much because I'm just kind of taking everything in. My name is Nate Boudreau. I'm proudly from Gardner, Massachusetts, where I served as a city councilor until 2 weeks ago. So, and I started about a month ago here in the wonderful town of Hubbardston, and am really enjoying myself. It's a whirlwind of information, and it's been a lot, but it's getting easier and easier every day until it gets harder, and it's just we're learning as we're going. Baptism by fire, as they say. I don't really have too much to say to you guys this evening, other than that I'll be here for the whole meeting, and I look forward to learning from you, working from you. I'm a big supporter of libraries. I went to a lot of the library state level meetings when I worked at the State House, and I was able to learn a lot about the larger scale, like mass library groups from my work there. So I'm a big supporter of public libraries and think we have a absolute beautiful one here in Princeton. I got my MPA Hubbardston, sorry. I used to work in Princeton.
Princeton is beautiful too.
Princeton is nice.
I used to work in Princeton. I apologize. Here in Hubbardston. I went to Clark University and got my MPA. So that was the one thing I told myself not to do. All right, thank you. But I'm a big supporter of libraries. The only thing that I'm going to need from you guys, and I'm sure you know this already, the CIPC needs someone to stop by on Monday and talk about the capital requests.
I will plan to be there. I'm going to be a few minutes late because I have a meeting in
That's
Pittsburgh
okay.
till 4:30, but I should be here by 5:15 at the latest.
And it's at 5, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if anyone else is welcome to attend.
I'm going to try, but I have a conflict, so
Okay.
I don't think that I will be able to, but
Yep.
if I can clear it.
Okay. 10 p.m. Yep. I will. Like I said, I will definitely plan to be here. So, and I found a document that Tom created a couple of years ago that clearly starts to outline some of our capital needs.
Yeah, because I don't have it in front of me, they just got a little confused because there were two different versions of assessments. One that was kind of a larger capital item and one that was a smaller capital item, and it wasn't defined, the differences between the two, in at least the original documentation that we had in front of us. So they didn't have any opinion for or against, they just want more information to be able to consider everything fairly.
Yep, absolutely. And I can take ownership of that. I had not seen the latest capital improvement plans. I didn't realize we had one next year that was for a larger amount when I submitted the $6,000 one. So yeah, so one of us will certainly be there.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah. And I think Chris talked to you just a little bit about like the relationship with the trustees
Mhm.
to the town, and that, we don't, we're kind of like a separate entity with a kind of dotted line.
Yep, no, I
Connection.
understand that. In Princeton, where I used to work, not Hubbardston, where I work now, had a very, very similar setup with their board of trustees and how they're not beholden to the town by any means, and they kind of run their own show. So
Well, we are beholden to the town to provide
Yeah.
the budget, right?
Yes.
Right, yeah, yes.
No, the relationship with the town is good.
Yes.
We're not trying to isolate ourselves, but there has to be a distinction because we also manage trust funds and
Mhm.
things. Not very actively, but they're there.
And you guys are elected by the people, correct?
That is
That's
correct.
correct.
Is that every 2 years, or every year, two people
Some,
come up?
yeah.
Yep, 2 people come up every year for elections, so,
Nice.
yeah. Do you guys have any questions for
I've already talked to
Yeah.
him,
Nate, or?
already had my discussion with him.
This might come up later, but it's related to the CIPC
Mhm.
thing that I'm relatively new, this is, I think,
Same.
second year or something, third year, anyway. but we've been asking for money for different things and we have different needs, but we're hoping that we can get some help putting it all together and making sure we're doing things in the most effective way. So some of the requests we had before, we still wanna do, but we wanna also ask this new request to get somebody to sort of oversee all of this.
Absolutely.
We don't know if, I mean, maybe you have some of that kind of expertise or you can help.
And you guys,
Put us in
through
touch
through
with-
yourself and through Chris, have the right to change your mind and edit the things you submit year after year. You're not being held to something you put in 5 years ago and you've gotta take it or lose it. Like, things can be edited and moved around and removed entirely as we go through life. It's a plan, and a big part of municipal government is that plans change, unfortunately. So we just gotta kinda go with the flow on it, but we can work on getting it to a point where we're all happy with the upcoming 5 years, and then we'll move with it as it goes.
I think to be a little more specific, there's the whole library books, everything that goes on in the library with the public. And then there's the building, which requires some attention
Yes.
almost continuously.
Yeah, and that's
And-
pretty much all of the library items that are on the capital improvement plan.
Yes.
Yes, but what I think Krista was trying to say, and maybe she did and I missed it, but we were looking for someone like a project manager
Mhm.
level, project engineer, project manager, someone to estimate the various facets of the work
Yeah,
and put the facets in an order that is efficient.
and that's what the $6,000 was
Yeah.
for, yeah.
Yeah, because we have things we want to do, like, you know, we need like interior storm windows, but we also request for new windows
Mhm.
and a request for a new heating system. So like, what's the best order for that to happen? Like, do we put in new windows when
Yeah.
we don't have a good heating system, or do we put the heating system in first? I mean, so I think we're just trying to make sure we're being good stewards of money that we've received from the town, and that we're being
Absolutely.
as efficient as possible, so.
Makes sense. Appreciate you guys, and I don't know if I should really be bringing this up recorded, but because we're down there, it disqualifies you guys from certain aspects of funding, correct?
That's correct. It's, as a mixed-use building, the MBLC will offer us construction improvement grants for the library, i.e. what we use of the building as part of the library. So any monies that we get from the state, we wouldn't be able to use to help gain access to the Historical Society on the 3rd floor, or anything that would change anything downstairs where the town offices is. All we could do is just that one floor there, so.
Alright,
But she brings up a good point about the accessibility, that's one of our, that's not on any of these plans so far, request so far, you know, they're more like repair or maintenance to the building, but overall, we're trying to figure out how to make the library more
Yeah.
physically
yes,
accessible.
and we didn't get it this year, but my predecessor did apply prior to me getting here for an ADA grant, and seeing as we did not get it, I am meeting with that state department in a month or two once they go through their turnover to see what we could have done to be more appealing. And next year when we go to reapply for that, talking about ways to, I haven't read the ADA plan, I don't know what parts of the library are in it quite yet, but we'll make sure that you guys are with the plan in terms of seeking funding for accessibility and things of ADA nature.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great, because that's something I know we've
All
talked about since
passionate
I've been
about.
on
Yeah.
this group, so.
Are we recording the Zoom also?
Nope.
Okay.
What is the status of our broadcast to the world?
Is we are being recorded to YouTube, and then they will
On
be
the cameras?
on the cameras that are up in the
Okay, I
air.
don't see a microphone or anything.
Their microphones are up there.
Oh, they built them in, okay, good. Big
Do the
brother.
thing where you shake your camera.
Is the
I like this
is
one.
the
There
operator,
you go.
So, yeah.
There you,
is
thank
the
you.
operator in the other room?
Yeah, the operator's
Okay,
in the
good.
other room.
Okay.
And Nate was saying one of the reasons why it's beneficial to meet here in Slade is that as soon as the meeting is done, it's automatically uploaded to YouTube. And it doesn't have, the work doesn't have to be done manually, like it is when it's recorded at the library. So there's cost
Yeah,
savings.
they lift it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah, so there's cost savings associated with it, cause you said that we went over budget last year with cable?
Yep, the line item went over last year by only a little bit, but when items are done here, it saves us on a few hours of an employee then having to go back and upload it, which takes time and get it ready, and yeah, it's
Yep,
probably a half
understood.
hour here, half hour there, but it all adds up when there's so many boards, committees, departments, and meetings in general.
While we're eligible for the grants for, as Chris explained, for the library itself, in other words, the main floor, you walk up the big steps and you're in the library. We also work on the lower levels, on the lower level of the office.
Yeah.
And we were recently trying to kind of upgrade a room, and a person that's presently seated in that room had some concerns about that, and it's the Board of Health person. And I listened to her, and she said she really needed the privacy. And I agree. And an elegant solution would be to simply have her move from where she's sitting now to the room in the corner where it was originally built for the Board of Health, because it has a door and lights and it's closed off, and she can have conversation without it being exposed to the public.
Can I have this?
Yes, yes, definitely.
So-
I'm suggesting she sits in the, if I could mark, well, I'll mark this one up and give it to you.
So
The
the,
suggestion is to have one of the rooms be built out like this room, so you have 2 meeting spaces.
yeah. Yeah, because the difficult part about moving that department is the clerk that starts on Monday is for Board of Health and Building,
That's okay.
so.
Yeah, just a more elegant solution would be that she's over here now, and this room was originally built for Board of Health. All the Board of Health files are out here and whatnot, and it's very private. I think it would serve her best.
Yeah, I didn't know there was an empty room over there.
Yeah, well, it's not empty. She'd have to switch seats with another person who works, I think, very part-time, answering the phone for the bus ride. But that's not as a private
Yeah.
thing, so
Perfect, I
I think
appreciate,
it'll work.
appreciate your input. I'll go over there and look at it tomorrow, because I'm also looking at moving another department and trying to make some things more seamless, so.
Good, are we
Should we roll it?
ready to library director's report?
Can I just say one
Yeah,
more thing?
please.
We did make a strategic plan,
And
A
I
few
got the
years ago,
strategic plan, I
yeah.
believe Connie sent it to me.
but that's something that, you know, we need to do every once in a while, so it sounds really good that you have some
Mhm.
knowledge of
Yeah.
how all that works and how we can work with at the state level and all of that, so I just wanted to bring that up, cause that's probably something we're gonna be working on in the next year
Yeah.
or so.
Absolutely, Jeff Williams, the school committee member, Deborah, and I went to a strategic planning meeting on Tuesday night for the Quabbin Regional School District.
Oh, okay.
It was riveting. We did a SWOT analysis and
Mm-hmm.
a big Post-it note thing. It was, so yeah,
Okay.
I'm familiar with the strategic planning and look forward to working with you guys on that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think we're good through 2024, so.
Yeah. We
we'll
have a
probably
little bit of
start it.
time.
Yeah. Chris?
Okay.
Yep.
Director's report, January 5th, 2023. We had 0 curbside pickups. We had 173 patrons. The cross out is because I transposed the numbers. We had 165 students visit for the month of December. 2 volunteers with a total of 2 visits and a total of 5 hours for the month. And we issued 3 new cards. For our Facebook totals, we had a page reach of 448. Our total page likes are at 787. Our page followers have gone up to 880. We've had 177 people check into our location on Facebook. Our Instagram page reach has gone up to 26, and our Instagram followers have increased to 38. The most popular post on Facebook was number 1, the holiday books and DVD display at 276 views. And at 220, second place was 225, we have another visitor, and that was a missing stuffed animal. So they have since been reunited with their family. As far as our library numbers for in-person, Hubbardston items circulated in December was 1,097. All items circulated at Hubbardston was 1,143. We had 187 requested holds. Our total number of patrons registered at Hubbardston has dropped slightly to 1,446. Total number of items, keep doing that, in December is 12,501. Overdrive totals. For December, we had 364 checkouts by Hubbardston residents. The library was closed on December 24th and December 26th for the Christmas holiday. The Senior Book Club met on December 28th and discussed Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. There were 4 in attendance. The Not Just Knitting program with Tony was held on December 13th with 3 attending, and on December 27th with 4 attending. The displays in the adult reading room and the children's reading room for December was holiday books. I neglected to put in November's report that the heater in the downstairs annex was replaced by Woodford Electric. I spoke with Kathy Hansgate, and I'm not sure how this is going to work for everything now. She is the chairperson of the Board of Health, who asked me who should she talk to about replacing the door to the Board of Health and Land Use Office to improve security and privacy for these offices. I told her that I believed that the library trustees were tasked with maintaining the building. I also told her that I would forward her request to the trustees. She indicated that she would use Board of Health funds for the door replacement. I also submitted the library budget request for FY24 for a total of $86,331. I have attached the budget request form below to show the breakdown of the request. The 1.06% increase level funds the employee support, services, and supplies, and provides a 2% cost of living increase of salaries. This budget amount requested will keep us in compliance with the MBLC requirement for state certification. Respectfully submitted by Christine Barbera. The following page just shows the various outlays summaries. As far as the trusts, just still have the losses, nothing changed on that, and the available funds that we have from various annual town meetings.
Can I just say, you figured out this last column was the percent that
Of
has,
expenditures, yes.
okay.
And then the last page is the breakdown of the budget request that I submitted to Nate, showing the level funding and the increases.
Which I will be reviewing over the next couple of weeks and submitting a budget from my office to the Select Board and the Finance Committee in early March.
Cool. Any questions?
I guess just regarding this door,
Yes.
is this something where we could submit a request to like DPW to fix or replace? Like,
It's possible,
is that
but now it's in somewhat flux because, is the Board of Health clerk gonna be moved to where the MART,
The suggestion is
the
free.
suggestion? So I mean, right now, it sounds like you got a couple things on the table that you could,
And if that's not the door, I don't really want to say that, the door is not the issue. The fact that somebody boarded up the door was the issue.
Huh.
So, because the Board of Health had a slight issue with an ongoing project that the town was doing where we had Kyocera come in and taking documents that we are having laser featured onto I think that's a word, that we were scanning and into a Laserfiche cloud and then using that as a document storage opportunity. It's a grant funded project that we have until the end of the year to finish. The Board of Health chair was not pleased that the records were going, and a lot of this had to do with retention, with turnover and in staff, and the fact that the training that was done in this programming was done for a bunch of people that just are not here anymore. So we are working on a training opportunity for that, to bring them up to speed on what's going on. The files and boxes are now gone, and we're willing to work with them, whether it be moving someone or fixing the plexiglass hole in the door, because the hole was useful at one point 2 years ago, I'm sure, but now it has just become a bit of a burden, because you can stick your hand in and go inside. So you can almost commit to that will solve itself.
The actual files in file cabinets are supposed to be under lock, not the door, the
Yeah.
cabinets themselves.
But they're being digitized, is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Good. That digitization, is that a word?
Yes.
Is important. That can really clean up our area over
Yeah,
there.
and if any of you ever want to see that program, just feel free to stop by and I can show you. We have HR, the town administrator's office, the select board's office, assessing, and land use all already
Are
on
the street files?
Yep.
They are.
Yep.
That's a massive project.
Mm-hmm.
Good work.
Yeah.
No,
I'll take it, but
yeah, we understand.
Yeah.
New guy gets the credit.
no, we're looking to finish it and make it available to the general public by the end of the fiscal year,
Great.
because people will be able to access their own public record.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about the door then.
Not at this meeting.
Okay.
If I will contact Chris directly if it gets to a point where I feel that it needs to come back up in front of the library trustees.
Okay, all right, sounds good, great, thank you. Meeting minutes for December. Has everybody had a chance to review them? And if so, may I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve December 2022 minutes.
Is there a second? Bob, second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, meeting minutes are approved. Great. Next up is the Hubbardston Public Library policies, which, hopefully this will be the final draft and that we'll get this approved. We had one final change that we made to it, in that we added a sentence in the policy related to, and it's in red, stating the responsibilities of parents and guardians in obtaining the library card, and also for the return of the library card, or return of the library materials in the condition. So. Any discussion about the language that Krista developed or came up with?
I think we're done with this document. We can
I feel
approve it.
like,
We're
yeah,
good?
I
Okay.
second, I feel like it's a very clean document and was well constructed.
Okay, so.
Good work, Kristen.
Yep,
Thank you. Well, I
So-
didn't do it alone. Tanya
No.
and Chris helped with that.
okay, so
So-
motion to approve?
Oh,
Oh, go ahead,
sorry.
Krista.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I'll make a motion to approve
Okay.
this policy.
Yep, second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I should identify it as the borrowing policy.
The borrowing policy. Motion to approve the borrowing policy. All right.
Can I just say, that we have been working on policies, or some were already in existence and we've been reviewing those and updating them. Some we just couldn't find, so
Mhm.
we will be putting them on the library website at some point.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
All right, so, next on the agenda is, town awarded funds for repair. This is what we talked about last month. And a small group of us met and kind of walked through the building, in mid-December. I think some things we were talking about was the development of a electrical scoping document so that we could have Woodford Electric come in and make some changes to lighting and.
Woodford?
Woodford, sorry. Is that,
I forget the name, the one's down there in Gardner.
Andy
Woodford.
Woodford on Sand Street in Gardner.
Scope of work? Scope
Was
of-
it Woodford?
Yeah, it was a
Yes.
scoping document
Something
for work
familiar.
to be done related to electric. And this is some of the CPC funds that we received. And for part of the first floor rehab that we got in 2021. So this is, spending out some of that money. So I know, Tom, you had started an electrical scoping document.
Yes, I've already called the electrician, and I'm
Okay.
trying to remember who I called, because I called him just the other day.
When you say first floor, we mean main floor, right?
Library floor.
Right, okay, just.
But there's also some changes we're gonna make down into the basement as well, cause I think the town clerk said they might have needed some more power on that far
Main
wall
floor and
basement.
It's a pretty small effort.
Yeah.
It's below the state requirements for purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
So, the methodology we're gonna use is we're gonna write something up, but really, we bring them in, we walk them through it,
Mm-hmm.
then they write it up to us,
Yeah.
and then we buy their proposal.
So you said you contacted somebody?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the name, it's the same guys we used the last time.
Was it Woodford?
It was Woodford
Woodford.
Electric.
All
They're the
right.
same people who did the lights, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, the last
Yeah,
time
and
in.
and the power,
And the
extra.
new box, and,
Yes.
yeah, those guys.
That was Woodford.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you met with them to talk about?
No, I just called them up,
Oh.
they're gonna get back to me, make an appointment to come up and we walk it, point to
Okay.
things, they write it all up as a proposal, and put it in, then we buy.
Good, so we're moving along on that. I know we are also gonna look into a mass savings audit. I know Bob, you had emailed me about that, cause you had some questions about like
Yeah, I
overall
wonder
energy.
how much insulation there is in the attic here, for one thing, and the whole building needs to have an energy audit, I think, to determine what to do next about windows and insulation and everything else. That should come first, it seems to me. Finding out where the insulation is lacking and what kind of leaks are in the building
Mhm.
before we do whatever else might be needed in terms of energy saving.
Prior to seeking your own energy audit, we are in the middle of applying for more green communities money. And a energy audit of all town buildings is something that could feasibly be we are not currently looking into it, but at the next level, we could feasibly add that to a project list. So, and I will know more with MRPC on where we're going with green communities and the master plan and the town center project and a couple other things in 2 or 3 weeks. So there may be an avenue for that, but I'm sticking very heavily on May and feasible and so
Sure.
so like cuz I haven't even gotten there yet, but that is the type of initiative that this funding is specifically for.
Good,
And
great thing.
we had, your predecessor managed a similar grant,
Mm-hmm.
and they came through and, stopped all the big leaks.
Yeah.
You know, they foamed the cracks and whatnot. Beyond just simply weather tightening the place, there are some windows that completely need to be rebuilt and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you get in, kind of overlap into historical thing and carpentry and a little
Mhm.
more than the green community guys normally do.
Yeah.
So we gotta marry those up a little bit.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Alright, so potential energy audit coming from town.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe more information for you.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about
Okay.
it someday soon,
Okay.
So
if
we might,
if possible.
we might be able to have an update for our February as to,
We
Whether
may
or
be
not.
able to, let's stick with February/March. Cause I can talk to them in the coming weeks, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna,
have an
Well,
answer.
we can always have
get
an
up.
update.
Yes.
Doesn't mean there's an action plan yet.
Yeah,
but let's
exactly.
just stay together on it.
perfect.
Okay. I know we also talked about submitting to DPW a request for foundation repair. I don't know if we ever, did we submit that?
I did not do that, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So,
I'm writing it down now.
okay. But one of the things we're trying to do is find ways to have DPW help with some of our maintenance work, because we've been having a difficult time securing somebody to come fix the foundation, so.
Which is A-okay, but I do ask you to remember that Travis is 1.5 people down
Absolutely.
right now.
So just a request, and if it can be,
It would be spring or summer,
Yeah.
when you can do
Hopefully
masonry.
hopefully we won't be down then.
I don't have an update really, other than at Monty Tech, one of the avenues that we did was to reach out to Monty Tech. And I was referred to Orion Reg, if I'm saying his name correctly, R-E-G-E, and he's the director of vocational programs. And he sounded very interested at the beginning of December in speaking to us about what is the scope and how we could kind of prioritize, but then with the holidays, still waiting for a follow-up.
Circle in with me, because I want to say I have a direct email for the person that does the scheduling of the kids to do, I want to say his name's Fred, or something like that, but there's a direct email that we were using to talk about the salt barn doors.
Doors.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. So I believe if you circle back with me, I want to say the second week I was here, an email with his email came through.
mhm. Great. Good. So it sounds like we're making progress on some, on taking
Crowbarring
baby
it along.
steps, on working to, use some of the funds that we've received, and get some of these repairs taken care of. Is there anything else related to town awarded funds that we need to discuss right now?
For your information, Chris does this report every month, and
Mhm.
this is the total here. The funds we're talking about are listed at the end.
Oh, I should have given you a copy, I'm sorry. We have an extra
Actually,
one here.
I think he has
Yeah,
a
he
copy
has
of that,
one
yeah.
now, yeah.
And this is also just something we put together last month as well. It's a little more, it looks at like town funds,
Yeah.
trust funds, town funds we've received and town funds we've requested or have not received, so.
We have, I guess I can speak for the group, we have no plans to expend trust fund money.
Mhm.
It earns a pittance. You know, it's trapped by the low interest rates and the, what you're allowed to invest in according to state law. So it earns a pittance, and at some point, it's just sitting there kind of shrinking because of inflation.
Inflation.
So we don't quite know what to do with the trust. If you have some experience, think about it, and
Yeah.
maybe next time we meet, you guide us in some way. It's a, it's a significant amount of money, $40,000 or so.
40,000?
Well, it's 24 and 8, 32, 33, 34. Yeah, 43,000, if you add it all up. It earns like $1,000 a year or something, terrible.
Well, what's listed on that sheet though is money we have to spend though, that's not the.
That's different. That's the available funds,
Right,
below the
yeah.
trust funds.
Right. No, I'm talking about in the trust funds, like that 40, if we're looking at the trust funds, maybe I'm misunderstood this.
I'm adding up what's called trusts on Chris's sheet.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just saying, that's money we have to spend,
Well,
Right.
we can spend it.
right,
We don't have any plans to spend it. What we're spending is the money down below called available funds.
right, I understand that, the way you said that made it sound like the money listed here was not all available to us. You were saying that only like 1,000 of that.
No, he said he didn't want to spend that.
Well, I don't know how to spend it
Yeah.
effectively
Yeah.
or in accordance with the statement of the trust intent, which is pretty sketchy and hard to identify, but, some organizations kind of raid their trust funds, and that's not something we think we ought to do.
Trust funds, the ones down here beyond, under the word.
Yes, under the word trusts.
Okay,
And available funds, these are grants and town-approved funding,
so these are the trust funds right here.
right?
We have freehand how they're spent? As
No, you don't,
Well,
you
it
have a
depends,
trust.
that other chart,
And that's what we've been saying, is that sometimes these were set up
We-
some time ago, the
there's a purpose
framework
for
of
some of
what the
those.
trusts were for
I think they're on
is
the
a little
last
bit
page.
difficult to identify.
There are ties to what they could be used for,
The
the original benefit.
CIPC, like the Fairman Fund and the. Are they on
I didn't
here?
answer your question
Operating
yet
funds?
because they're
No.
talking, I'll answer.
Because we were talking about
These.
them when they were here.
These, the pop
Yep.
them, the church, so some of them have a specific purpose, but some
Yeah.
of them don't, and so it makes, you know, like,
Identifying how we can appropriately use them.
If it gets down to a point where we exhausted all of our own intellect and legal aptitude, we can seek counsel through town council. That's one of my last things that I want to do because it's expensive. But if it comes down to it and we really want an answer, we can go down that avenue in the future.
You can also petition the court to waive the requirements and claim the money because it's still for the town.
we wanna use it for important things, I think, you know, we don't wanna just use it for random
The
things.
library things too, as opposed to, fixing a sewer or a roof, I would think this would be money to be spent for library issues, I would think. Books, for example.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
say
Some-
books, some say
some are for books.
beautification,
Yeah.
they have different words.
But if we have, say, if we've received CPC funding or CIPC funding and cost is coming over what we've received, I think it wouldn't be inappropriate to use some of our trust fund to cover the difference if we
Yeah.
needed to.
Yeah,
On the other hand, if you underrun, you don't get to keep the money.
Do these
Fine.
funds have strings attached to all of them?
So,
Except for the Clark one, which seems to be unknown.
the Clark one we don't know about.
Yeah.
Is that from Jonas Clark originally?
yeah,
Clark
I'm
Mountain?
gonna guess,
probably.
I'm gonna guess, actually, it might be his
Family.
daughter, his family, or, I feel like it has
He never had
a
any
woman's
children.
name
No.
to it, so.
Well, technically, he has many, many children at Clark University.
That's right. Very good point. You should have built it here.
Okay,
You guys ready to
Move on.
move on? Alright, so Krista attended last month or so.
yeah, maybe it was in November.
November. A summary of boards and commissions, kinda like knowing our responsibilities. The agenda has documents linked that she kind of put together, but I don't know if you wanted to.
I could just go
kinda
over them
talk
kinda
through.
quickly.
Sure.
This first one, it actually came from the town website. If you can click off that little picture there.
Yeah, I don't have.
Just click on to the right there, yeah, there. So these are, according to it was actually when we had a vacancy, was like an announcement for recruiting somebody to run or to be appointed, I guess. So this is what we're supposed to be doing. So I just kind of tried to put together some of these documents. Establish written policies, engage in ongoing planning, ensure the library meets the community's needs, work on preparation of annual library budget, which Chris mostly does, but she presents it to us. Hire and evaluate the library director, which I don't know when the last time we did that, whether you had an evaluation, but that might be
Oh,
something we would
yeah.
think about.
That's
Yeah.
something we should do.
And then, that we don't currently have a Friends of the Hubbardson Library, but, that's in there. So these are our main roles, and then this next part is, some sections of the state law that relate to what we do. So I just tried to put some of this stuff together. They kind of, the meeting or the training wasn't just for library people, but they did mention some of these things, so I was just trying to put together a couple of documents with a summary. So anyway, we can just scroll through that. And also it came up before you started, I think, that, or maybe right when you started, that they were trying to take some money from the library budget, which would have made us ineligible to participate in the state,
Right
which you
before-
understand.
Right before
Yeah.
special town meeting.
Yeah, so anyway, some of that is in here too, just in case, we needed to reference that. So that's the one document, and the other one is the summary of the training, which was from the Office of the something general?
Inspector General.
Inspector General, yeah. And so there's a little video which pretty much summarizes the training, so, you know, you could sign up to be a part of the training on Zoom and, you know, be able to ask questions and all, but I think if you just watch this video, you would have, you know, the gist of it. And then right underneath that are the three main things that they covered. So the board responsibilities, the open meeting laws, and the public records requests, which really the town has to do that. Like if somebody says, I want to see the minutes from whatever, but we might have to help provide like some of these other documents that aren't, you know, directly in the minutes. But the main things were the board responsibilities and the open meeting laws. But this part that I highlighted, I think this is something we might want to discuss at some point. They just sort of started out by saying, you know, as participants on the board, we should all be able to, you know, ask and answer these questions. You know, what's the organization's purpose? What's our role? What's our role as a board members or individual board members? You know, what are the laws and what does the organization do and how does it do it? And then what they really harped about was meetings, you know, how to have effective meetings and how to make sure that we're not just, you know, rubber stamping things or, you know, having one person decide everything. And, you know, I don't think we really have that problem, but it's something, you know, to keep in mind. And that we're not just supposed to sit here and do something pro forma. We're supposed to be, you know, a little bit more active. And I feel like we're doing all of those things, but that was the main, just, apparently there's a lot of boards and commissions that have trouble, so they decided they needed this training to kind of make sure that people are
It's good.
not doing things that they shouldn't be doing and are doing things that they should be doing, so.
It kind of reminds me, you're starting out here, and I think our clerk is also starting pretty new.
Yes.
And I was just sitting here looking at some of this, and every year, every year or every other year, all the elected people in town are supposed to do ethics and open meeting law training.
Oh, don't worry, I'm a former town clerk. I'm on it.
Okay.
It's
I used to get a notice.
It's every 3 years,
I used to get a
and I'll
notice.
work with Kristen on making sure that
She has a little book.
gets up and going again.
Yeah.
Because they actually just, I don't want to call it rejuvenated because it's still behind, but it's not as behind
All right,
as it was.
it's on the radar.
They redid the 1980s style
Oh,
program that you have to watch when you take your ethics and open meeting law examination.
Well, that's not really the issue. The issue is notification.
Yes, no,
to who.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'll talk with Kristen about that. She's new.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Krista, thanks for going to this, and thank you for writing up the minutes to it.
Sure.
So, I encourage you all, if you have time, to kind of read through it, and it's something maybe if we wanna meet, and especially when we start doing strategic planning again, I think those questions you had posed will certainly be important in helping to kind of form it a little bit more too.
So a question and part of the review off of the materials like Krista sent, were our hours being set based on population, our budget's based on population, and then town population numbers? Does that come out annually to us? And do we work with the town to establish those? And is it anything that we need to review and adjust?
At this point, the hours that the state wants us to be open, we are exceeding
Okay.
based on our population. I totally lost the whole train of thought. I was focusing on that part there. So yeah, population I think is what, 4,300?
47?
4,700, okay.
47.5.
So 4,700. We are fine until we hit 10,000. They ask us to have some evening hours.
Mm-hmm.
We're open 3 nights a week. I think that's fine. I think it was 15 hours for our population under 10,000, or, you know, based up to 5,000, and we're at like 24. We are at 24. As far as our budget is concerned, I don't believe that there is they don't compare us to other towns. They base us on what we
I think
formally.
it's also by population from another so it was something, it's all between
As far as
18
the
and
library.
20% of what is used on materials
Oh,
for that.
Okay,
But
so
I just didn't know if we had to review the numbers and if that was something that was done on an annual basis. But if
We
we're
do it-
well within a number and our population hasn't changed.
there are about 8 requirements for state certification. The most important is obviously budget, and I didn't give it to you, I'm sorry. I will forward you the municipal appropriations requirement that the state wants from us to give to, the state wants the town to budget a municipal appropriations requirement, and basically what they take is our last 3 years of either the municipal appropriations requirement or the total appropriated municipal income, whichever is higher. They add those 3 years together, divide by 3, and then multiply by, I think, 0.0625% to come up with a number. And that is what we should have as a minimum for our budget request. And that 86,331 is slightly above it, like, I don't know, $5 or $10,
Yeah.
from what the state is looking for. So that's how I do my budget requirement, and I do that every year when I do my financial report to the state, to the MBLC portion of the state. So I have to do 2 annual reports. One is the ARIS. I have drawn a blank on what that stands for, and then there's the financial report. But the ARIS is usually, that it is compiled of our items that we have, what new items we have, what we're how many adult fiction, how many adult nonfiction, how many the whole shebang. So of that budget requested amount, 18% of it should be going towards supplies, and we're still well over that for that amount. I believe I have it at 19,000. I think the minimum is around 18,000. Yeah, I'm sorry, 16,000 off the top of my head. I haven't seen it for a while. So those are the 2 financial limitations. The other ones are number of hours we're open, that we're offering. We don't charge people for using our facilities as far as our item, they can come in and borrow as long as they have a card, active card. Hours,
I think
evening
it was
hours.
everything that you're referring to, I think, is what Chris has sent under the 19B
Yep,
and all of those.
yes.
Is everything that you're explaining.
Everything, and
And
everything
that's where I was
there's,
just like,
we're in compliance for all
Yeah.
of that, and that gives us certification, which gives us, I think they just gave us $4,500 part 1 in like in December, and we'll get another $4,900 from the state for later in the year.
so part of the scope of being trustees and overseeing and understanding the role, and I know that you've kind of submitted when you said that you submitted to the state the report, but Chris's materials, and so that I better understood it, was that section 19B under the Mass General Law for libraries, and having read through it and read descriptions, I was like, I wasn't aware of this. So learning myself and being more familiar as a library trustee role, that is what I feel like learning more and understanding more of your role.
Okay.
So I appreciate, so maybe we can go over when you submit the annual report. It'd be good information for us.
Sure. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They said, like, it's tricky because Chris manages the library, but we also have to, we have like oversight kind of, but it's kind of a tricky balance. But I feel like, you can always come to us and say, this is what I'm thinking about doing, but you don't have to, like we could be a resource to you for that, but
Well, I think
we're not trying to micromanage, but
Exactly.
we just wanna make sure that we're providing any help we can, I think, is what you're saying.
and then also just understanding the roles and what we're doing and saying in verification that we are certifiable, still within CWMR, still
Yeah.
operating as
Yeah.
we should.
Yeah,
And I think having a better understanding too is like, if we're out in the community and people are asking us questions, we can answer them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, if you want, you've seen that, I've saved the PDF report, and it's a lot of data. But I can certainly share that with you if you wanted to see what the state report is compiled of and what the ARIS report that I submit every year is. I'm more than happy to. I'm a firm believer of the more information you have, the more you can make an informed decision. So I'm more than happy to share everything with you.
Yeah, I would share, but like not as here's the information, not necessarily that we need to approve it,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
right?
I fully agree. I don't think that we need to approve it, but then I also think that goes to the step of one of our roles was to evaluate and things like that, and to also understand, and as you had said, promote and advocate what the library is doing in the community, and being able to say, these are the things that we are doing. Yeah.
Okay.
so we could just do that at a future meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it is tricky, we're not managers, but we are charged with oversight, so it's kind of a balance.
Mm-hmm. I don't really like lost visitors, but I do like the posts.
It gives it. I like having them read books, and I loved your reply for that with the bees.
Yeah.
That was great.
Hearing that you guys' interest in that kind of sparked my attention, because one of my major initiatives that I'm going to be kind of doing, and I actually just emailed the chairs and the department heads about kind of starting this conversation, is a big centralized communications push where we have centralized social media, not contests, but little quirky things, and where we send out facts about the town and just kind of try to centralize communication so that it's one message of community spirit and community in general from all sides. And that's
And
something
increased engagement.
and increased engagement for all, and increased fun, and increased information, and increased transparency, because it'll work for everybody if it works at all.
And if it's
And-
streamlined. I'm
Yeah.
all for that. Nice idea.
So you'll have a future meeting where we can work out the nitty-gritty details about this, as far as the centralizing
Yes,
the
it's
message.
it's one of those things that's coming together. If you check your email, I casually dropped it today because I said
I must have missed that.
central
Oh, yeah.
social communications task force is what I called it. But
Okay.
so that's what I'm going to pretty much ask for, one person from each entity to be part of something that meets, let's call it monthly, maybe more if we do something of merit, but just to kind of keep everybody in the loop on what each other are doing, the combined engagement, who's doing what's hitting in our area, so that if maybe you're not going to be able to post about a fire that you went and put out, but if they post something and it does incredibly well, you can kind of do your own version of that to get additional information out. And I'm looking into ways to do that. So I will be reaching out in, I'd say within a month, I should have my communications plan about ready to go.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, Katie Young went around town, and I think it was kind of trying to hit up local businesses, but she would give away little hints of who does what, or a little weird image, but it didn't give away who it was, and who can guess. And it garnered a little bit of attention, and that is an idea to
Mhm.
throw around.
Like a scavenger hunt.
Kind of, yeah.
Cool.
I like the idea of streamlined and
It's it's not still the wild, wild west as it was 10 years ago with social media and communications in that way, but it's not to a point where it's so manufactured and streamlined that there's a book on it quite yet. So there's different styles and different ways to go about it. So that's kind of where I'm at with kind of figuring out what makes sense at such a small rural level versus what would make sense when I did it in the city of Marlborough, which was much larger and much more hands-on with video cameras and all that stuff.
Introductions to our new town clerk and yourself to the community would be nice.
Yep, I have that
You did that.
scheduling.
I saw that.
Yeah, I did a written one for myself.
Oh, I saw the email interest.
Kristen, and but we're recording our video with Brittany. I'm hoping for at the end of the month, and that's going to turn into us doing monthly short videos on different departments in hopes of sharing shorter information, because there may be someone that'll watch a 5-minute video where me and Chris are talking about things going on at the library, but someone may not want to watch a hour-and-a-half long meeting.
Someone may enjoy listening to the new town administrator read a children's book.
Oh, we can do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I read children's books sometimes.
We had that done during COVID, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Various members. Just
All right, okay, so next is trustees meetings. I think we'll be meeting in this space from going forward.
Are there
No.
conflicts with Thursday nights?
There doesn't seem to be too many. I looked back at the calendar last year, and I think one time Open Space had a meeting scheduled at 7, but they didn't meet monthly, so
Okay.
I'm hoping maybe we can just kind of book it, that we have first Thursdays
Okay.
of,
Fantastic.
so.
And like I said in the email tonight, if it ends up and there's two entities that want to use the space at the same time, we can still record in other rooms or anywhere. Just if possible, when possible, I would like for the boards, commissions, and departments to use this room for their recordable meetings.
Which I think will be good, because I have not listened to our meetings. Chris, I think you said they sound kind of,
Well, especially with the heater, you know, it was making all this noise, and it is pretty echoey. It was a little bit hard to hear. So we'll see how this goes. So we will be meeting in here, unless there's some conflict.
Unless there's a massive uproar and I have to retract my request.
which just brings us to one final thing, is the February and March meetings. I just wanted to mention that the February meeting, which I think is February 3rd, I am not gonna be here. So Tom can chair the meeting as co-chair of the trustees, or if we wanna move it to a different date,
It would be the second.
the 2nd?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on a cruise on that time, so I can't,
You
so I
can't, you
so I
can't
be
video
here.
in from the
I
cruise.
can't video in from there.
You can all meet in
The
the ship
roaming
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We can go there.
You can all- Will town pay for that?
No.
So I'll join you in Cozumel.
Oh, maybe they should just send all of us out down there.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So I don't know
I'd be
if,
glad to do it.
if you just,
Let's just do it on the regular.
just do it on the
day.
regular date, okay. And then, in March, I will need to telecommute or come in through Zoom, because I will also be in St. Thomas then. So I'm starting my
Boy,
sabbatical on
life is
Thursday,
really
so,
tough.
For you.
so I have the next
Congratulations.
4.5 months of,
Alright, that
not
will be
having
March
to go to
2nd.
work,
Good
so,
things, sabbaticals.
So the March meeting, I
think
guess
we'll
if we
be
have
here.
Zoom,
We have
right?
Zoom, and as long as I get the code, I can just,
Let's go with 97% yes, because I'm still having trouble when we try to Zoom people in that speak because of the, what do you call it, reverb
Okay.
going back and forth. So I'm pretty sure that between now and February 2nd or March,
March.
whatever, the first week of March, I can figure it out, but
Okay.
let's give me that 3% wiggle
Okay.
room.
So I just wanted
You can
to,
use a regular phone.
You can use
Yeah.
a regular phone?
Yeah, I could just call in too
Yeah,
if I needed to.
we don't need to do
so,
the Zoom thing.
Yeah.
We don't wanna see the pictures of the ocean and the sun and the palm trees.
By March, we'll have more sun.
Yeah. So I just
I
wanted to let you
hope.
guys know about like how my schedule kind of worked out. So, but we'll keep the same meeting times. It sounds like so. That's great.
So will we put in the request for slate building for February, March at least?
Yeah, I'll email Tony and just ask if we can just have it for the year
I would love
on the
that.
first
That'd be
Thursday
great.
and just get it in.
In.
So it's
That'd be lovely.
scheduled and then see how that goes.
Cool.
Thank
Anything else we need to discuss?
The policy review,
Mhm.
it says for the future agenda, so I think we've actually done all the ones that either existed already and we reviewed, except the grounds. But I don't know if we really, there was, anyway, there might be a couple of pieces of things that we could look at, but I was thinking I would also just look at some other area libraries and see what else they have, and then we could, can kind of continue with that.
Okay.
And then I'll work with Chris on getting them put on the website.
Okay. That sounds great. Yeah, so we might be able to start pulling some of these up into our regular agenda.
Alright, so as far as my evaluation is concerned, would one person do that, 2 people do that?
How many
Okay.
would you like?
I don't know, doesn't matter to me. It's how many you guys want it, how involved do you
I
guys
was
wanna
thinking
be?
we should look at MBLC and see if they have any,
Mhm.
some form or
Guidance.
some format that.
Well, the
Yeah.
town has a form,
Oh,
so you could use that, and Jane, when I was assistant librarian, would have me do a self-evaluation, and then we would talk about it, and,
Did Josephine do one with you?
yes,
Okay.
she did.
oh, okay.
Okay.
She did do
I
one.
thought there had been one at least.
There had been
but
one,
I think
and,
that's all.
Yeah,
Do you have are we remiss in that we don't have a job description?
no, we have, the town has a job description for it,
Okay.
so I can,
Distribute that and, wouldn't that be what we would rate off?
yep,
Okay.
I'll get you guys the job description and the form,
Yeah, I would say 1 or 2. So
okay?
I'm happy to do it if somebody wants to join me.
I'd at least like the forms.
Chris, do you have access to the common drive?
I believe I do.
The common drive under HR has the form and the 2021 job descriptions.
Okay.
So maybe we could just put that on the agenda.
I mean, do you wanna do it as a,
No, I didn't
Not
mean
as
the
a public
evaluation,
meeting,
but
no.
just like that you're gonna share your job description with us, not the whole evaluation.
yeah, I,
So if you
no,
would email the trustees the job description and maybe
Yeah.
the form, and then, I don't know if you were interested as the co-chair,
I'll participate at some level.
or
Could I ask
you
a
were interested.
question?
Mm-hmm.
To what extent should anything like that be on a camera?
I know
think it
mine
would.
has to be on the camera.
I know yours does.
Like,
I know yours does, but
I wouldn't say, I'd say as long as it doesn't say in your charge or in the general laws that,
so we wanna do
Created
this
you that-
offline somewhere.
Oh yeah, this would not be at a meeting. This would be like
Right.
Chris and I would meet.
Well, some
or
are at
wherever.
meetings, like
Right.
his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I'm not at his level.
I would say almost
Oh, really?
similarly,
Really?
we will
Same
be,
pay scale.
I would assume we're going to also be discussing, and we should add to the March agenda, startup of our scholarship.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And similar to that, as we have in years past, I think if we review the scholarship applications and the rubric, and then come to a meeting prepared for it, we could have executive session and then in front of the camera,
Mhm.
present the results. I think it would be very similar, I was saying.
That
We
wouldn't
have
be in
done the
March, that would be in,
In March, we will start
Start.
having an agenda
Yeah.
item, but then, as we have discussed in the past of how we would, and how we have evaluated scholarship applications
And advertising.
and advertising them.
so I think the agenda item would be,
Just
Scholarship.
scholarship.
right, no, that's
We'll
fine.
review the review the, if there are any edits that need to be made to advertising, to the application, to the rubric or anything, and then just proceed as we have.
You may not be aware of it, we try to give 2 or 3 scholarships every year for $1,000.
Does anybody else seem to notice that Tom keeps increasing the scholarship numbers that we give out?
We do have
In the
9
amount, too.
scholarships,
In the
$10,000. I think it's a wonderful thing.
It was
I do too.
500.
Is it 500?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe we'll both have enough.
He's accounting for inflation.
College
Do we
is
have a
expensive.
March book display idea?
Gabby was handling my book displays, and now she's only working 3 to 6 hours a week now, so,
Throw out an idea.
sure.
Especially with the students, if you have like a March Madness of your favorite kids' books and have the kids like
Oh.
vote.
Do the,
Yeah.
I did that at Fitchburg,
okay,
so I have like how you can set it up.
cool,
It was super fun.
cool. I'll do that.
Super, super fun. And I can give you like the language I used, like when to talk about the winners,
That would be nice.
you know?
Yeah, this is not I was never in charge of the pool at work, so not even close. I just threw money away, like, here, take it.
All right, anything else we need to discuss?
I would like to say thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
I
having
very
think you added
much.
a lot to the
Yeah.
meeting and welcome to Hubbardston.
And as one of my kind of agenda items, I'm going to be trying to, I'm not gonna be able to make every meeting of every board, but I'm going to try to attend, I'm gonna call it probably 1 a quarter. So that
That would be fun.
so that I can, because my fiance was very much not a fan of the weeks that I'm here until 9 p.m. every
I
night.
can imagine.
Well, congratulations on your fiance.
Thank you.
I welcome if you have thoughts and feedback of emailing the trustees, and you have our contacts. And we
Absolutely.
also have a group email, so we can incorporate your thoughts into our agendas and.
And as things evolve on my end, I will be doing more outreach to everybody. For my first month, I was kind of just tucked away, trying to figure out up from down and what was going on. So I think it will evolve nicely, and I'll involve more people as I progress here. But everyone has been so nice and welcoming, and I thank you for having me tonight.
We're excited to have you here as our town administrator, so thank you.
I miss having the books, but I will say this space is a lot quieter.
If you have plenty of time for casual reading, we have a whole library.
I have so much time for casual reading.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Second,
Okay, it's 8:14,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
good meeting,
Thank you.
group.